Welcome to Bloom in Full Color, where we live life in high definition.
Happy New Year!
Jennifer Moss, PJ McGuire, Dave Holly.
Hi.
We are talking about something I have been living in the middle of for probably the last 5 years. It just seems to have compounded in the last couple of weeks, and it is called Burnout.
I'm so burned out.
Happen to have a book that I've read. This is my third time reading it. I learn something new every time. And it's more targeted at women, but it's basically talks about the burnout that happens in modern life. Okay, so we were born as a Homo sapien, right? I'm probably not saying this correctly. All you archaeologists, it's fine. Move on. We are not playing that game. Okay, I'm not a scientist. I kind of am, but not the same way. So what our body's, foundation is a fight, flight, or freeze response, right? In any kind of a stressful situation. But that was evolved from like being chased by a lion. All right. Now it's triggered by a stressful email or a coworker who's being an ass or a negative situation at work or the general stressors of being a parent living in the world with a job in America or, paying for groceries as we were
with
just
today's
talking
prices,
with
yes.
today's prices.
Yes.
So fight or flight or freeze, which is where I've been living. I've been living in a state of freeze because I no longer have enough energy to fight or flight response. So I am stuck in a freeze response. So I'm trying to cycle out of that. So I had to circle back to this book.
That stress levels are higher today than they were 50 years ago? Yes. Or is it a different type of stress?
I think, yes, it's more stressful because there's never a break.
The speed of life has accelerated.
Changed. It's just kind of like, they said that the generation before this, you had to go to a library and look up an encyclopedia. And so the generation that has everything at their fingertips should be smarter. And
I am not far removed where we had an encyclopedia of the month, where we would get a new...
That was the thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have you ever seen those sets? It's like 4 years worth of shipments.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I thought encyclopedias were cool as hell.
Yeah.
I think encyclopedias are cool, but I'm a knowledge nerd. Like, I'm always learning. I always want to learn things. And that's why my house is full of books. And people are like, why do you buy books? I'm like, because they smell and touch and taste and feel like I like a book. Now, do I still have a Kindle and I still get a lot of digital books? Yes, absolutely. I like them in all different avenues because that's how I don't have time to sit down and read a book. I'm actually listening to this time.
On the way home and kind of stuff, right?
Yep. And on the way back to work. But burnout is a thing. And I think that women who are the primary caretaker in their households that work full-time suffer it more just because we're expected to play a different role.
But you're carrying a way heavier role almost always.
How many single moms have you talked to? And they're like, oh, well, you're just a single mom. I was like, no, that bitch is a CEO. Get out of her way. She can run her entire household, keep everybody on schedule, keep everybody fed, everybody cleaned. She might be, dehydrated, dirty, and hungry and sleep deprived, but she's running it. Well, fast forward to today, we're all experiencing that in our own way. Do you guys go home and cook dinner?
I do not.
It's crickets. I do.
Does peanut butter and jelly count?
I almost had cereal for dinner last night. I was really tempted. I might have cereal tonight.
It happens.
Hey,
everybody still survives.
Yes,
everybody still lives.
And my husband was like, "You bought cereal?" I was like, "My grown-ass adult self might have cereal for dinner this week." And he was just like, "You look excited about that." I said, "I am. I'm going to slice bananas on it." I'm so excited. He didn't think I was serious. I was like, no, bitch, when I don't want to cook, that is what is for dinner. I'm having cereal. I don't give a shit what you eat. You can have a Hot Pocket for all I care. So I'm married to a business owner. Do you think he comes home and cooks? I mean, yes, if I instruct him to leave out, like if I buy the food and I leave out the recipe and I do all the lead work, absolutely.
That's modern stuff.
Yeah.
She shops. She brings the food home. She does the prep cooking. She puts the steak on a plate. He fires up the grill, puts the steak on. Everybody goes, thanks for cooking dinner.
Dad.
Yeah.
Hold on. Who did all the damn work?
Excuse me?
I don't think that
And
was.
I'm not picking on my husband will
yeah.
do anything I
not
ask
picking
him
on
to. I'm not picking on him at all.
But that's
but-
modern life. 100%.
But that's modern life, and the women are still carrying too much weight. So I think that we have a tendency to break before men do, but we also have a lot more longevity before we get there because you guys don't have the same amount of pressure on you.
Well,
Just because
would
the
buckle
modern
under the
standard.
pressure.
It's a different type of pressure.
Okay, how is your pressure different than my pressure?
My pressure is I've got the pressures at work of running an operation.
Ditto.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, let's just go
Yeah,
side by side.
I'm just saying.
comparison.
So
Get
tho-
to your
those-
wife, different conversation.
Absolutely.
No, I
Absolutely.
understand. But like, if you and I tallied it up side by side, we're probably exactly the same.
More so
as far
because
as-
you're raising two girls.
Yep.
I'm not.
and
My
running
kids
a
are
household.
grown.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Because you have yourself and your partner
Right.
in your home.
Mm.
You have a whole slew of four-legged creatures
Right.
But
that
that's
are also
self-induced
hers.
pain.
Not his self-induction,
Yeah.
but that's
He
okay.
married her.
But he married her, and so I have to tolerate football. He has to tolerate pet fur.
Right.
Problem solved. Like it's just, I don't care that much about football, but the Vandals won, and they're in the
But I'm
championship.
saying
and
what
very
I'm saying is
excited.
that I think burnout is still the same, regardless if you're a woman or a man. It's going to be the different triggers
Yeah.
that are bringing it on.
Well, and different things will break it. So I had a really small thing happen last Friday, and I erupted, and it was like straw that broke the camel's
Is home
back.
or work?
This was home,
Okay.
and I was like postal going through my CSI.
I think she was
episodes.
almost there because
Oh,
she talked to me on Friday and it was
Yeah.
like, ooh.
It started here. It
It
might have
started
finished
here.
at her house.
It finished
It
there.
started here.
And you want to know what did it? It was French fries. French fries and clothing instructions are what set me to the absolute level 20.
To the moon.
And I was like, I know how to hide a body.
Yeah.
Now, I know somebody with a pig farm. Like I was going down the list, and my daughters were like,
Danger, Will Robinson.
She
Danger.
is very, very angry. And I was like, don't look at me. Don't. I had 4 people come up to me and I burst into tears. And they said, how are you? I said, not good. Not good at all. And they all understood, gave me a hug and said, if there's anything you need, I said, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to get through the next hour and a half while I freeze my ass off in this weather for a child that doesn't even give a shit if I'm here. Yeah, it was totally one of those. And I was literally like, I know somebody with a pig farm. If I cut off the limbs like this, like I was 120% there. And my husband knew that. And we are totally fine. It's no problems. But
No one
that was-
died in the filming of this video?
Nobody.
No
there was
animals, children were
homicide,
harmed
there
in
was-
the
there
making
was
of this
nobody was
podcast?
harmed.
See, I still think in the realm of things, why we haven't reached out to HGTV or Discovery or anything like that. Where is our film crew that is filming our daily actions? I think we could be as much fun as Pawn Stars and
Great day
it's-
here. We're all laughing and giggling and
True.
having a good time.
I'd say most days.
Yep.
Yeah,
Most
which
days.
does help take the edge off burnout.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
the
God.
reason I was able to get through last month, that before we were filming this, you were out for 2 weeks.
Right.
My brother was out for a month. So, and we had a whole bunch of things happening at work that were not small,
Oh,
not little,
No.
huge, massive, like
Giant.
earn your stripes as a business owner bullshit. And my father just retired, and my mother's trying to pick up the other pieces that I could not carry that were imperative for the company to function. And I'm just going home, and you want to eat and have clean clothes? Well,
Tough shit.
figure it out. I don't know what to tell you.
Here's a quarter. Call
Yeah.
someone who cares.
Yeah.
Well, it
This
was
is the
like
world's smallest violin playing just for you, 12-year-old
Yeah.
with the I would have to start every week to say I am at my max level, because with my kids, we qualified like, hey, I only have 10% today. Your dad's going to have to make up for the other 90. And that doesn't always work. So I learned this trick from Brene Brown from one of her books. She would start, she talks about when her and her husband connect at the end of the day, they'll come into the conversation and one of them goes, I have 25%. So they have to collectively come up with 100% between the two of them. So the other partner will go, oh gosh, I only have 30. Where are we going to find the other 55? And so they'll actually work together. So my husband and I have talked about that, and sometimes it works. Well, in the middle of all this, I was a single parent at home. My husband's been in a 3-month thrash of working 7 days a week, 12 to 16-hour days. on top of everything else. And then we had a death in the family. So this was
Which,
no small amount.
as of recently, seems to be the salt
Yeah.
on top of your
Yeah.
shit salad. Like, oh, it's this pile. Let somebody die.
Yeah.
That's the last 2 years or
Yeah.
year and a half.
Yeah,
or
this seems to be a theme.
Yeah.
Hard season of life.
Reoccurring with you.
Hard season of life. But, I firmly believe some people would say, if those who believe in God, I'm not of that mindset. That's fine. I don't know, no criticism at all. Everybody has their belief system, but there's the saying, God wouldn't give you more than you can handle. I firmly believe the universe, this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. I just haven't found exactly
why it's happening. Yeah,
exactly
or
the
what
message yet. But I will say there was a hard business situation. I'm not going to get into details, but a very, very challenging scenario. And I actually didn't find myself in this deep-seated fury that I expected to feel, in that like rage and fury. It was kind of one of those, because I'd been through a similar one 3 or so years ago with another similar situation with a challenge. Was I light enough?
Yeah.
Did I keep
No,
that?
that's one way.
That ominous enough?
Yep.
But because I'd been through that, and I couldn't in that moment be like, how is this happening for me? Because fucking stupid, like, I mean, I'd 3 solid months of going home just going, I hate this, and just trying to be like, okay, that's why I have my smut reader on. Like, how does Jennifer deal? Like, I've had several people ask me, how are you surviving right now with everything that's on your plate? It's like, I go home and I disconnect. I don't think about it. I get myself into a fantasy smut novel.
I was going to say, how the hell do you do that? Because
It
shit, I
has
need some help.
nothing, like if I'm reading about dragons and elves and fairies,
Yeah.
what about that has to do with flowers,
Uh,
except them like pressing a leaf and like a forest grows or something ridiculous and so outlandish that would never happen in this world? Like, I do firmly believe that there's something in this happening for me, but I found that through burnout, it's really easy to spiral into the negative. Super, super easy. But I have to remember in those moments, like, hey, walk away. You cannot ever solve the problem in the same state of mind in which it happened. So you have to walk away. Like just yesterday to today, in the frustration of the transition of Dave and Dewey coming back to the office, taking things off my plate, and taking the lead back on projects that are under their realm, right? And, taking that burden off of me, whatever that was. I mean, our equipment stuff, like just handing that off, like, oh, thank God. I don't want to deal with that. Had I dealt with it for the 4 weeks before that? Absolutely, because that's what you needed.
Right.
That was my role for that
Mhm.
period of time. And so that's what I stepped in. I asked the team to come in on Thanksgiving weekend and work for 2 days. What does that mean? I'm in here with you, because that's the kind of boss I am. I refuse to be like, hey, just call in and let me know how things are going. Had I been out of town at family, like the rest of my family was dealing with the death in the family, that would have been different. You guys would have been fine. You would have managed without me, but I didn't actually need to be there yet. It wasn't a funeral. That's not it. There was a check-in with the
Supporting the team.
other
Yep.
grandparent, so I didn't need to be there. So we worked as a family and said, all right, who needs to be where? And we strategically placed it. I was the best case scenario to be on site. So that's what you do. You step up in those moments. You find that inner. Now, it is okay to draw a boundary when you go home. So I'd go home and say, kids, I got nothing left in the tank. There's leftovers in the fridge. I don't care if you have ice cream for dinner. Is your homework done? Are your chores done? Great. I'm going to get in the bath. Don't talk to me.
Yep.
And they're like, okay, cool. Love you. We're going to watch a show. Okay, great. Did you get your 30 minutes of reading in? Okay, cool. My kids are old enough. Thank God I don't have littles at home. Because if you had littles,
Yeah, well, you can't even understand. Yeah, they don't.
no,
understand.
I would have imploded. I'd be in a mental institution right now, without question. No, and I broke twice last week on my husband and just said, I need your help. The first one was not homicide. It was, hey, I need you to figure out how to manage your company in a way that you can accommodate 4 working hours in an afternoon, 1 day a week to spend with your children. I don't need you to be a husband. I need you to be a parent for one afternoon a week. If you can just take that off of me for one afternoon. And it's not like, it's just time spent with him. They were just missing him. It's not like he's going to be doing the cooking and chores during that time. It was just taking that little bit so that they got that piece of dad. Because it couldn't be mom and dad effectively. It just wasn't working. And, thank God we have a situation that it all works. But, sorry, I see a truck driving by that is slightly familiar. Not the same one. Anyhow, so it's one of those things where if you're getting fried, and I knew for a fact that I was just totally like the car is running out of gas, it's starting to sputter, the gauges are going a little haywire, and you're like, oh, do I have enough fumes to get to the gas station? Well, I'm broken down about a mile out. And I haven't quite made it.
AAA.
I've set up camp. I've got the lawn chair out.
She has a fire
I'm
going.
Sleeping. That's where I'm at. And that's okay. So it's one of those things where I can self-regulate and I can self-check in. And I know I've been getting closer and closer to this, but I finally fractured. And it's okay because I know that. And now I've got support team back. Mm-hmm. So I can take a step back. But how do you deal with these things? How do you set yourself up to fill your cup back up? How do you accommodate time in your household? How do you
break that chain though of being so burnt out, so dejected, to bring you back up to that level?
It's a mindset
to come back.
thing.
Absolutely,
it's a mindset thing. You've got to. So I found that I used to skip this step, and I've stopped skipping this step because it's not a good idea. I let myself feel the feelings down. I sit in it. I don't distract myself. I don't try to push them down. If I have to just push through something, I will have to put them to the side for a minute. I absolutely will have to do that. I had to do it earlier today. I had an emotional response to a question and I had to just be like, okay, I'm going to walk in the other door. That'll give me enough time for my eyes to calm down and not be so red and I'll be okay. And I can shake it off and keep moving. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean I don't still feel those feelings. They haven't gone away. So I actually will take time to just be upset. And I'll just sit in it and I'll be okay. And if I feel myself getting teary as a female, cry it out. I'll go work out aggressively. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever raked leaves when angry. Well, buddy, you can be fast. So I'll lean into and I always know that things, I have little triggers, right? So I know when my depression's coming back because of how hard it is to get out of bed. I know when I'm really on edge because the first emotion I feel is anger. Mm-hmm. When that happens, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. This is a flag. And so, I see it a lot in the spring when something stupid happens, right. Somebody's just not thinking, and they make an error.
We're all in that realm.
Anger's
and we've talked about this. We've
emotion.
Talked about this in our previous podcast, where it is a very hectic spring. Yeah. Every single year. It doesn't matter when. And go back a couple of years with COVID, we've talked about that as well, on how much stress there was. Generally, this time of year, there's not a lot of stress other than on a personal side. But at the same point, we're going through management changes here.
Massive
changes. And it's changes isn't even a big enough word. And I'm not being a turd. We're not changing. We're burning shit down and rebuilding from the ground. It's not a change.
Right.
No, a change is swippy swappy. That's not what we've done.
It's a philosophy.
We're I dynamited that shit over there, and we're going to build some other shit over yonder. Come on.
We went from driving on roads to building a ship.
Exactly.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. We went from paddling a canoe
animals to full-on land-based. Yeah. Travis is on the other side of this window laughing at us because he's like, yep, that's what we're doing.
We went from paddling a canoe to flying a 747 is what we did. Okay, this is a slight step up. What the hell's going on?
So massive changes, trying to live that. We're in the messy middle. This is a process. We knew what we were doing when we walked into it. And then we had other variables that have
never thought that would
that have really compounded things. And so we are living a state of just ultimate, holy shit, what happened?
Question. And I don't know the answer. I'm literally throwing out for the group, right? Are we carrying a little extra stress because we never got a break during COVID?
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
we did not
Yep.
miss.
the COVID
our
hangover.
team
Oh yeah.
The
didn't
COVID
miss a
hangover.
single minute of work. Didn't miss a day of. We never stopped.
We never
And
got a
I say
day
that,
off.
I had
locked
friends
in
who
your
are like,
house.
I had 2
What?
years off.
And
I just collected
and
checks. I'm
thank
like,
God for it. I mean, so
no,
that we were.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
but I'm
not
just
complaining.
my other friends, like they had 2 years off. Yes, they're stressed with that. Yes, but
Do you know
they
how
had a break.
I
Right.
feel like such an asshole when somebody is like, yeah, and COVID was so hard on my mental health. I was just locked in the house. And I'm like,
Bite me.
you're
Yeah.
mental.
Double bite me.
I'm going to nut
Yeah,
punch you.
yeah,
Right in the. Are you
exactly.
kidding? I was an essential employee getting my ass chewed, being called a
Hammer.
communist because I'm hiding the goddamn red geraniums. There's no red geraniums left, lady. They're gone. Like, I'm not pigeonholing them in the back for myself. They're yours. I don't care about plants. Fucking take them. Like, it was so hard on us. Have we gotten a break since then? No. Because the supply chain was screwed up. The employee pool completely got balked and changed. You know, every process you thought you knew, every system you thought you could rely on, forget about that. You're going to have to reinvent the wheel, then build the son of a bitch with paper sticks or something silly. You didn't have a choice. I started to like look at this. I haven't had a break since we lost Kings as a customer. That was 2017. Like, my burnout has probably compounded over the last 7 to 8 years. That's okay.
Probably. No, not probably.
Do you see?
1000%.
I just downplayed it.
Yeah.
I just did what every female has been taught to socially do.
No.
I just downplayed it and said, I can handle it. It's fine. I'll take a breath. We'll be okay. Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. I just saw Serena Williams. I think it was Serena. I don't think it was Venus. I think it was Serena. They look the same in my defense. I
Interesting.
have twins
I
in my defense as well. Mine are fraternal.
They're not
I get
twins,
that.
though.
They're fraternal.
No.
Yeah.
Older
Mine?
sister,
They're
younger sister. No,
sisters, yeah.
yours.
My
I'm
girls.
talking about Venus and
My
Serena.
girls. Oh, are they?
100%.
They're not
they're
Venus,
sisters.
no, they are
See,
not.
I'm
That's
an
why I'm
asshole.
pointing. No,
Yeah.
not even close.
See,
Venus
okay,
is the older
obvious-
sister. Serena's the
Fact
younger
checking
sister.
Jennifer. She
Yeah.
doesn't know what she's talking about, clearly. They both play,
They both played
Tennis.
professional tennis, no doubt.
not volleyball.
Serena played
I
longer.
almost said volleyball.
Yeah.
Definitely not
Oh,
volleyball.
my God. Yep.
Wow, this is
And
how
I
burnt
did.
out she is.
This is burnout.
Yes.
This is not an ad for Emily and Amelia, but this book is fire. And there's a whole chapter on the game is rigged and the bikini industrial complex.
Oh, no
and
doubt.
so women, we have a completely different expectation as to what you're saying. Did either of you go home and cook dinner? No. And so, like, it's one of those things. Serena was saying, it's okay to not be okay. There's a lot of people that are just not okay. And it's okay. As long as you can own that space, not try to hide in it, not try to use it as a weapon. I may not be okay, but I'm not using it against you. And as my brother said, please don't stay and be a martyr. Take some time. I was like, you're right, because I am starting to feel like a martyr. I don't want to be a martyr. I am a cautiously optimistic person that shows up and I'm the cheerleader of the company on 4.5 out of 5 days of the week regularly.
Well, we especially screwed ourselves this year because instead of saying, I feel like what's super important for us, and we've screwed this up the last couple, was to time those breaks. I'm looking at us, we have got to figure out how to get away from here in June or July. Have to. Like, it's not negotiable. Like, I think
And
whatever
I
the end
don't-
is, whatever the
Yeah.
end is.
I don't get time then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so,
so-
I don't know when that end is,
Right.
but whenever the end, you can't wait till December to do it. It has
No,
to be,
because
my season's
We have
wrapping
to
up.
go.
Gotta
So
go.
we go all the way to the end of June, and then we go immediately into planning in July. Then we go immediately into budgets, and then we go immediately into production. I was like, shit, it's next year already.
That's exactly right. Where's the
Like,
break?
yeah, there's just not.
There
one.
isn't one. And I feel like
Right.
that's a
That's right.
mistake on our
If you
part.
ever see any of us on the street and you say, "So you get the whole winter off,"
Oh.
if you get a glare and we don't ever speak to you again, there's a reason. It's not personal. It's just offensive.
It all looks easy from the outside.
It does.
I
And
really-
a lot of people don't understand what we do.
Flowers, you work in the spring.
Oh, you gotta play with plants all the time? I'm like, yeah,
That's what
call
keeps
it.
us sane.
That's
Right.
You know, actually, my favorite part when I'm having a stressful day is to go get lost in the greenhouses.
Mhm.
When there's something out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there's something out
and
there.
you can that we got a couple of hidey places that we go to hide. you know, if you find a couple of us in the custom planning department, don't talk to them. They're hiding here.
They're hiding.
Yeah.
And I think that's
She's got
natural
her hand
for
in her dirt.
that's natural for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So when I would get stressful or I've got to take a break from the
You go
spreadsheets
walk
or whatever,
the crops,
I
don't
would
you?
go walk the crops. I'd go into retail. I would help in retail. I would go plant on the planting lines, just something to
Just
break
to
up.
change it.
Absolutely.
Plants don't talk back. Plants don't tell you your formula's wrong.
Yeah.
Plants are.
So I just
And then they're
listened-
talking shit on the line and they're like, this isn't any better than
Yeah.
what I was just.
I'm gonna go. I don't want to be here either.
They're still talking about work. They're still talking.
No, there's a moment every once in a while. You got to kind of have your moment.
Right.
But we also have you can have a frustrating moment at work, especially during burnout. And we were talking with another lead yesterday, said, and this is somebody who's inherently positive as well. Who's running a department, and they were talking through a frustrating situation. And they were just like, God, I got so mad. And I at that point empowered this person and said, all right, Dave and Dewey and I have kind of a tag you're it situation. If we get furious pissed and we're just like, I am going to fire everybody in 5 minutes just so I never have to see them again. Like it said, okay, you need to go. You're going to go take a long lunch.
But it's
Clear
9
your
o'clock.
head. Yeah. Don't care. Okay, bye.
It's called a
Come back when you're ready.
corporate lunch. You start with martinis. We'll work our way to salads. Fine.
There's
Fine.
a salad in there. There was an olive.
That's
I had
right.
a salad in my cocktail. This is where wine is a salad. So just knowing that and having that self-awareness, I did have a moment where I broke during the season in June and got really angry and frustrated, and I slammed a door. And my how is this working for you moment is I realized nothing I said in a raised voice, which was a problem. Like I already know I didn't show up right there, but I didn't say anything I couldn't recover from. I didn't say anything that I had to apologize for. Everything was completely valid. It was just said at a high volume, perhaps while I was stomping. Manageable. But that was a win for me because 2, 3, 5, 6 years ago, that would have been a different conversation.
What it is, it's a sign of growth.
Correct.
I hope
That's
so.
what it is.
Because
I'm saying,
this growth is
as you're
painful.
talking, I'm like, you're way more introspective than
Yeah.
most people. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I know my triggers. I know
Right.
you're way farther ahead than
Oh,
most.
no, I
I'm just
definitely know
saying,
my triggers.
Way farther ahead.
I know what to look for. But I've done a ton of this work.
That's
I've-
what I'm saying.
I've sat in it. I've sat in the discomfort. I also am not afraid of being uncomfortable. I live in it. I tell my people, there's 2 things I always say. I know all the reasons it can work or can't work. I need to know the reasons it can. And then second, my job is to make you uncomfortable because that's the only place in which growth happens.
Right.
So I've lived in discomfort. I've been uncomfortable for the last 8 years of the Nonsense Kings liquidated.
I look at it when we're in a stressful situation. I can talk to you.
Mhm.
I can talk to Dewey in a way that's not going to affect my job performance.
And it won't,
Whereas-
it won't affect our relationship either.
Exactly. Where I've got to be professional when I'm talking with everybody else.
Right.
Different things.
Because
Okay.
they're judging you at that point.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, you're
But
being
these
held
are-
in a leadership
But when
role.
I'm talking to
You're
my
setting a
peers,
precedence.
when they were reporting to me and now I'm reporting to them type thing, it's like, okay, here is where I'm at. And here's my frustration
Yeah.
that I can't share with the group.
Well, and I've found that through this last month of very hard, I have a group of friends. Many of them watch this podcast. I love you all. Everybody's it, and it's like a group of 6 couples, so there's 12 of us. Everybody's business owner in that group. Every single one of us.
Completely understand.
Because of that, now I have an entirely different
Mhm.
resource set. Now, that doesn't make my other friends who aren't business owners unimportant. They've been incredibly valuable through the process. They haven't been as present because I haven't been reaching out. It's on me. But at the same time, I now have people checking in on me and saying, man, how's that going? And they've been going through super hard seasonal life stuff too.
Shared struggles, shared
str-
experiences.
Well, and
It
what we're
doesn't
going
discount
through-
from
Yeah.
others.
I
Yep.
can't talk to an employee about what we're
Oh,
going through.
right,
I can't
right.
talk to somebody who just, shows up to a job 8 to 5 and doesn't care about anything else about this because they're just like, man,
Mhm.
you sound entitled and it's like, it's not the same thing. So what I would say, the message there is we're not going to be talking to everybody who's a
Right.
business owner. And I'm
Right.
not discrediting that. Not in any way, shape, or form. It's just like talking to a single man. He's never going to understand the struggles of a single parent.
Right.
It's not like a man who's never had children, who isn't in a committed relationship, is
Not
never going
gonna
to
get it.
understand what a single mom's going through. Okay. Let's just be honest. It's a perspective issue. But what I would say is build your tribe that you can lean on in those moments. But figure out what your toolkit is. I have a toolkit. I know the things that I need in these moments. I need time by myself. I need time with my friends. I need constructive time with my family that has nothing to do with work.
Right.
I don't need criticism. I don't need extra work. I need things that inspire me and create me, or creation based. But I need enough space to want to create. There's also a thing there. So I hit a point of burnout this fall. I had a little break rest. I had my 1 week that I took this year, and I just stayed at home. I was so fried. I couldn't create. I couldn't cook. I didn't want to do anything. You want to know all I want to do when I take the next couple of days off? I want to have control of something. So I'm going to clean my pantry because I know I need to have control of one thing after what I've been through the last couple of weeks.
Which way the saltines are faced? God damn it.
Right? And what's on the
straight
goddamn shelf? I want to know where everything is. I don't want to have to look for it for 10 minutes. And it's something so tiny, but that's what I need. I need to feel like I'm in control of something. And that's stupid and it's little, but that's what I know I need. So I'm like, okay, the one thing I'm going to control, she's going to lock the door.
Oh.
She's good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
she's saying, go out that door. She's locking
I'm glad
that
you're
door.
on it because
No, I can
Yeah.
translate, Leslie. You're
Okay,
fine.
nice.
And this is why I've always said, when I walk out into retail and I tell young people coming into this industry that we're one of the few industries that will put smiles on your face. Okay. So in a stressful situation, when I'm able to go out into retail and then just observe, it just calms me straight down because they're smiling. They're wanting to be here.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset. And then when you come back, okay, I'm ready for that
That's
pressure
interesting
cooker.
they say it because our business is someone else's stress relief. So
Yeah,
our
Absolutely.
stress maker is someone else's
Yeah.
stress reducer. That's a weird,
Well-
you know what I mean? Where I go to calm down is where I go to get totally stressed out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay, let me forward it to you, or flip it on you. What do you love when you're picking fresh produce out of your garden in the summer? You don't have to go buy it at the grocery store.
Oh.
B, you're saving money. You get to cook with your own food. It tastes better and it fills
Mhm.
your soul. And now you have a shared experience because eating is based around food. We know that, or
Mhm.
food and culture are all connected. What do I do to meet up with my friends? We go somewhere. We have a drink. We have a meal, or we go do an activity. Right? So you're still getting that piece. It's just, it is our stressor during the day, but it is still an outlet for all of us. Like right now we're getting excited because we're planning farmers market stuff out in front of for the 2024 season. Like, what does that look like for us? And we're excited about it because we're like, okay, this is something new. This is something different. What could we do? I mean, I'm even playing with the idea of growing every single tomato we grow in containers or in the ground, depending on where I find space, so that we can taste it in August and September side by side with each other and have a salsa competition that Moss sponsors.
Yep.
Like something fun like that. And so I'm finally getting to that point, even in my burnout, like I'm trying to lean into the things that make me feel good. So it's creating, it's feeding people, it's spending social time. I mean, this weekend I got to spend time with friends. My children volunteered, which is a change for them, and they got to see what I do when I volunteer. So I'm helping inspire them, and we had a shared experience.
Freezing and mom was psycho, but it was an experience.
That was the other.
Oh,
that was the
sorry.
day before that. The second day was a lot better.
Okay,
So
sorry.
and then when you are putting
Watch our past podcast for that story.
so when you're putting these different experiences together, it's that shared community. You're bringing in a bunch of people, absolutely, that have the same likeness and same interest that are going to get the same enjoyment out of that particular.
Community is a huge part of mental health. You
Well,
read
and then-
any book regarding
Rest.
it's a huge part.
Rest and active rest. So what I mean by rest, taking time away from people, unplugging, finding something that fills your cup. Is that sleep? Is that binge watching Netflix? Is that reading a book? Whatever that is, rest. Then active rest. So not doing anything except for your body. So mine's CrossFit. I actually made it on Monday. I'm going to make it tomorrow. Damn it. Unless it's something stupid that hurts me. And then I'm going to bitch at Becky the next day because I'm still going to go. So yeah, I'm needing to get that adrenaline, that endorphin rush. I need it to heal. So I'm making an active effort. I have a sasshole barking at us on the floor. Sorry.
We have not paid attention to her in like 2 episodes. She is not
she's
happy.
upset. Come here. So basically, get out, get movement, find friends,
Yep.
take the time you need. And if you can figure out your triggers, like I have worked to do, you can kind of get ahead of it and find yourself your resources before it becomes a problem and impacts your day to day. Self-awareness is a superpower. I'm going to write a book eventually. It's going to happen. It's going to be about self-awareness. Maybe that's my new keynote topic. I think that's coming up in this life. At one point, I'm going to have a keynote topic. And I think it might be self-awareness is a superpower. Because if you can, I mean, as you pointed out, I know those things about myself.
Right. Which puts you way ahead of a lot of people.
Well, and that's probably how I'm a CEO at 38 years old.
Mhm.
I mean, because how many of those are in the world?
Yep.
Most of them built their own companies. And I didn't just get this job. I think we've talked about that on former podcasts. This was never the plan. The plan was different. The plan went off track and the plan changed. And then I tried to build a ship or a 747, whatever it is. So burnout's real. Qualify it, define it, hold your space, take steps, find your toolkit, execute your toolkit.
Talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody. Now, I have an appointment tomorrow with somebody I'm very looking forward to. I'm going to spiritual release therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard about SRT. And it's just something to check in with my soul to make sure that I'm in an okay place. I feel like she's going to have a lot of material to work with tomorrow. So I'm kind of excited. I always feel lighter. First time I saw
Is there a lot of
Sylvia-
yelling and
No, it's a little hokey. It's a little voodoo-y. I won't go too much into details, but it's all about energies and your higher self and being able to kind of connect with part of yourself that most people don't have access to. And I somehow through this individual do. And I saw her the first time in May of 2022. And it was funny. My friend came in who actually works in that office now. She's a masseuse over there. And she goes, "Oh my God, it's the Tuesday after Mother's Day and you have a smile on your face. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like-
She's lost it. Call the rubber truck.
She is obviously off the rocker. I mean, I was walking through retail and I was trying to be pleasant. And she goes, "You're like glowing." I said, I went to this therapist that's a little bit out of the box and it really helped. And I've seen her one other time since then. And I know that I need it. It's been a year. So it's actually been over a year.
Cool.
I haven't seen her since August of 22. So this is my third appointment with her. And I don't need her a lot, but it just helps. It's kind of like, people there, you've heard of Reiki. You've not.
I know Reiki.
You know Reiki.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what Reiki is? It's working with the energy fields of your body to remove any blockages.
It's a no-touch massage is what it is.
Which I think is a really bad way to explain
Oh, that's pretty dumb it down for us common folks.
Yeah, I was like, that's not quite
It's
exactly
a shitty
what I mean.
explanation.
That's
bro.
a shitty explanation. It's working with the energy fields of your body. Do I know what happens with it? Absolutely not. I don't understand Reiki, but this is just working with the spiritual side of yourself. And I'm just opening up to that. And this person, Sylvia, has a very strong connection to that. And I mean, basically, my higher self and her tried to bitch slap me into healing last time. They're like, "You are not taking enough time for you." I'm like, ironic. We're going to come back and have the exact same conversation with Onyx because she is not getting enough attention and it's the end of the world. So with this, that's your homework. Figure out what your triggers are. Try to figure out how you fill that cup and work through burnout. And that's how we're going to start the year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. So as
Do
we
something
go,
good
You
this
survived
year.
the
Do
holidays.
something
Look
good.
at the positive.
yeah. Then we're going to tell you how to celebrate Valentine's in an untraditional way.
There you go. I like it.
Oh.
I'm thinking like shooting ranges. And
There you
When you
go.
said experience,
Yeah.
that's literally what I went to.
Yeah.
I got to take the fam
That
shit.
gives
Do you
you-
know a little fun fact about emergency rooms? The two busiest days in the emergency room in Moscow, Idaho, when I was in school, were Mother's Weekend and Valentine's. Mother's Weekend because of mothers
'Cause mom.
getting a little bit too frisky in a fraternity house. And I'll just leave that there and let that insert your own. So one of my professor's son used to be an ER guy up in Moscow, Pullman. So I hear all sorts of fun stories. And then the other one is Valentine's because people get very violent during Valentine's Day. So I think we could have a dark Valentine's Day episode that could be kind of fun. Come
That'd
up
be
with the
fun.
most
be
atrocious
fun.
stories you've ever heard about Valentine's. Or we could do fun gardening flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a little bit more warm and
A
fuzzy.
little more on
We'll
topic,
see.
but
We'll see.
not as fun to talk about.
No,
probably.
I know. All right. And if you guys have anything you want us to talk about or want us to cover,
Let us know.
let us know on the Facebook. That's a good spot to get us. And with that, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, subscribe to our channels, share it with your friends. And with that, we invite you to go live life in full color because playing is pretty boring. Thanks, guys.